Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. Today is episode number 82, and I really just want to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on right now. I know that the mandates for the federal mandate for any company with over 100 employees just got shot down a couple weeks ago, and I know that I had mentioned that before, but I never came back to say that it got shot down, and just wanted to make sure I follow up on that because it is really important and a huge momentum win for keeping our freedom. And if you think, wait a minute, I didn't think this was a political podcast. It kind of is and it kind of isn't. But the most thing is to own your life. So that is what it really is about. And however, there is no owning your life if you are going to be controlled by the government or somebody else or whatever, and you can't make your own decisions and you can't decide what is best for you and your family, and you're being mandated to do something against your will. That is not owning your life. So that is why we're going to talk about it, because we're all about owning your life and for you to take responsibility for your life. Because it is your responsibility to do so, and to maybe sit back and think that somebody else is going to take care of all of this, or, oh, everything's so terrible and I'll just, go hide and hopefully it'll be better in a year or whatever your thinking is. If that's what your thinking is, it's very dangerous, because you are now putting the fate of yourself in the hands of somebody else. And while we still are able to own our lives, because who knows, that might be taken away. Hopefully it never is. Hopefully that is never a possibility. I am not a crazy conspiracy theorist, but if you think about all the things that are being talked about right now, a lot of them that people said were conspiracy theories have come true, such as the virus was made in a lab. That was considered a huge conspiracy theory a year or so ago. And now we find out that's true. It's true that this was created to harm us on purpose. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I would suggest you do your research and see that a lot of this is being done to control the population, the world population. And if you haven't looked up anything about the Great Reset, I would suggest to do so too. Maybe I'll do a podcast on that, maybe not. I'm not sure yet. But I did want to just talk about, how that mandate was blocked by the Supreme Court. And also I've noticed that this is very interesting, that the United Kingdom and Ireland have both gotten rid of all of their mandates in regards to mask and whatever lockdowns and things that they had. Their mandates are gone. I think they were effective last week. I don't remember the exact date. I didn't pay too much attention to that specific part of what day it was all going to be released, but they are no longer requiring masks for the students in school or for people at work or whatever. Just all around for the whole country, no mask mandates. And it just, I thought this was very interesting, especially if you know anything about the Great Reset and whatnot, that you would just think, oh, if that's true, then why are these people having these mandates removed? You'd think it'd be like they'd be cracking down on it further. So I'm keeping an eye on that, because I don't know, obviously what's going to happen with that, but I would hope that the U.S. would follow suit and make the entire country mask mandate free. I know, obviously, I live in Florida and we don't have that down here, but there are many states that have more than mask mandates, that you can't go anywhere without showing a vaccine passport, which is insane in my opinion. And for all of that to be removed would be great. So I know that, there's a lot of states that it's almost like we're a bunch of different little countries. So don't know how all this is going to shake out yet, but just something I'm definitely keeping my eyes on, and really just wanting to instill hope and know that there's always hope. That a lot of us thought maybe doom and gloom, this is the end, like end times. I know a lot of pastors have said these are the end times. Like, look at Revelations and look at what's happening right now. And a lot of it's been pretty crazy, but to have wins and glimmers of hope like this is so encouraging to me. And I hope it's encouraging to you too, in that you can stand up and fight against all these rules and regulations and things that are being pushed upon us that don't make any sense. A lot of them don't make sense, because I've thought before, why now? Why this one? How come for the swine flu, nobody cared? Nobody cared at all. It seemed like it was just, you got sick, whatever, stay home, get better, come back to work, school, whatever it is, and move on with your life. There was no, oh my gosh, you have the swine flu. I can't come anywhere near you because if I get the swine flu, I'm just going to die or whatever. And just be mass hysteria over all of this. That didn't happen. And I just kept thinking, so at the beginning of the pandemic, when all this stuff was happening, why now? Why didn't we do this over the past flus and viruses and things that we've had come about? How come nobody cared? Or it didn't seem like anybody cared. It didn't seem like anybody was freaking out over it. It was just like, oh yeah, it's flu season. This is just the new strain or whatever that's here now. And you might get it, you might not. It's fine. You just do what you normally do when you get the flu. And then you move on with your life and you have natural immunity, which a lot of people don't want to talk about. And I just find it very interesting just how a lot of this is unfolding. And I am very encouraged with that. We're seeing some turnaround and we're seeing people wake up to the fact that this was not a naturally occurring virus and it was done maliciously to harm us, and that it's pretty much like a Frankenstein disease that they created in a lab. And obviously, they didn't know all the effects it would have when they released it. But honestly, in my opinion, I don't think they cared. I think the whole point was to harm people so that they can control them. But thankfully, it's not as lethal as maybe they were trying to make it. I'm not sure. But that we are, well, for the most part, if you get COVID, you're fine. You'll be fine. You might feel like crap, maybe for a couple of days, maybe a week, but you'll be fine afterwards. You're not going to just drop dead. Maybe if you've got 5 or 6 other comorbidities, I would say to handle those because that's going to hurt your chances anyways of your longevity, not this COVID virus. So there is hope that this is getting better. And I feel like something is happening, that we are on the upswing of whatever all of this stuff together was to gain control over the population. And perhaps all of it's the Great Reset and whatnot. And I would suggest that you start researching that. And maybe I should just do a full podcast on it, but for right now I'm just going to briefly mention it. But maybe that's the whole motive behind all of this. And the main thing is just to see how much we can be controlled. And I am very optimistic that there are a lot of people out there that are not going to stand for this, and they're not going to let the government or their job or their school control every decision that they make, including their body and what they want to do with their body or not do with their body. And that is a very, very personal thing. That's probably the most invasive that somebody can be, is something to do with your body that is sovereign to you. Like, you have the sovereignty over your body. And if they take that away from you, then what do you have? That's what's really scary to me, is if you just comply with everything, like, oh yeah, okay, you say I should get this and I'm just going to go do this and I'm going to wear the mask and I'm going to do that and make everybody happy. And oh, well, wait a minute. Why? Maybe I don't agree with this. Maybe I don't feel right doing this. Maybe I don't want to do that. And that's really the last resort that we have is ourselves. Like, that is you and your body, and you should have the final say in what goes into it, whether it's being injected or whatever, or what even you're eating, things like that. Like, you should have the final say in all of it. It is your body. It should be your choice for whatever, immunizations you do or don't want to get. And I think that it's just a lot of people trying to play God right now, and it's very scary. So I would just advise that there is hope. There is hope. There is something to hang on to, and there is action that can be taken on your end. You can say no to it. If you are scared of losing your job, maybe look for somewhere that's not mandating these things, especially since the Supreme Court knocked it all down. Your employer can't come back and be like, oh, well, it's mandated. I have to do this. Because now their hands are not tied. And they would have been before, where that would have been a bigger excuse that I've seen some companies do until that got taken down. Oh, well, but it's federally mandated. We have to do it. We don't want to break the law. Yet nothing was ever like fully put into place, because it was just an idea and then it got knocked down. So anyways, I would suggest, maybe looking for another place of work, maybe going to a different school, maybe pulling out of school completely and doing something else with your life. I'm not sure, what your situation is, and I wouldn't advise you just to make an abrupt decision, but to really think about it, really think how it's impacting your life and what you want your life to look like long term. Because making a quick decision just to appease somebody else is something you should never do, no matter what it is. I know right now I'm just talking specifically about maybe the vaccine or wearing a mask or whatever it is, but it for that's just advice for everything. Just making a decision to make somebody else happy is not good. That is called people pleasing, and this is taking people pleasing to the extreme, and for fear of what others will think about you or say about you. And I think we've just been sold so much fear in these past 24 months that um, so many people don't even know what their own values are anymore, and they don't know what they stand for. And the good news is you can reset yourself. You don't need somebody to do it for you. You can take yourself out of whatever the situation is. And I know that's hard. Maybe you're the only person that works in your family. And that's a big deal to change where you work, or maybe to stop working for whatever it is to figure out what you really want to do. Maybe you don't have the luxury of doing that. But I would advise you to really, really think about it, really do your research and think about, what do I want the outcome of this to be for me? Because you can't control what other people are going to say and they're going to do. You can't control the people around you that are saying whatever they're saying. Oh, well, you should do it because of this, or you should do it because of that. Or maybe it's a family member and it's really hard because they are harping on you 24/7 to do something that you don't want to do. And at the end of the day, it is your life. It's your life. We all have to stand up for what we believe in. And when we do that, things like this are happening and pushback is happening and things are not getting past that maybe we thought there wasn't hope. Maybe we thought that. I didn't think that way, but I'm sure some of you, or somebody out there that thought, oh my gosh, this is it. Like they're just going to keep taking control of everything. And they will if nobody stands up to it. So the thing is, it's awareness. That's number one. We need to be aware that things are happening. You need to be aware that the government and probably your employer or maybe some other people around you do not have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind instead, because most people are looking out for themselves. And I would advise you to do the same in a better way, a more positive way, not to take advantage of anybody or to harm anybody, but to help yourself and to be responsible for yourself and your choices, and to live with your values, and to go with your moral compass of what you feel is right. Because just doing something that you don't feel is right to make somebody else happy is going to be dangerous and harmful to you in the end. And it might not even matter to them in the long run. And it's greatly going to impact your life. So the impact on theirs might be very minimal. And that is extremely scary to think about. And I would just advise you to make sure that you do research and to really think about, what do you want your life to be? And are you okay with making a change right now if that needs to happen? Because at the end of the day, it's you and how you feel about yourself and taking responsibility for your life. So that's what's going to matter. And it's going to be important to just realize, like, not everybody's going to have your best interest in mind, and it's really going to come down to you and your choices and living by the standards and the values that you want to live by, because nobody can take that away from you. Like that's something that you get to choose for you and your life, and talk about it with your family, and to live by those standards, live by those values, and not to just compromise and comply to things that you strongly don't believe in, just to appease somebody else. And another thing is really just to look at the long term impact of a lot of these things. I have listened to and seen a lot of really, really upsetting messages from children who are in school and how they feel that nobody is caring about their well-being and their mental state through all of this, and that they do not want to wear a mask on their face for 8 hours a day. And I don't blame them at all. I don't know what I would have done if I was in school right now, like elementary school or even junior high or high school. And I don't know what I would have done. I think I would be yelled at multiple times by teachers. Hey, put your mask back on, because I don't want it. I don't want it on my face. Like, that's how I feel now. I'm sure that's how I would have felt then. I'm so weird about that. Like, I don't want it on my face. I don't care what you're going to tell me it does, because at the end of the day, the real studies say that it doesn't do anything. It's not going to help you. It is pretty much a face decoration, and I don't want it on my face. So, for me, I know I would have rebelled against that for sure. And not shocking that I still feel the same way now. And that's how I feel now, that I'm so against it. And nobody, I'm not going to say nobody, a lot of people are not looking at the long-term damage this is going to cause, and especially for students, especially for young kids that are not able to learn social cues off of just looking at their peers or their superiors and their teachers and their parents and whatnot, and seeing facial expressions and how to just behave as a person, and just seeing how life works. When you cover up most of your face with a mask, you can't see that. You can't learn that. It's decreasing a lot of learning opportunities for children, and it's very, very damaging. And just some of the things that I've heard from kids talking about it, they've said, we are so depressed, we're missing out on so much of our lives. You can't get it back. You don't get to redo the senior prom. Like, it's once it's over, it's over. And if you didn't get to do it because of COVID, like, it's gone. You never get that opportunity back again. And it's just crazy that a lot of people are being so selfish with the fact that they are thinking they know the best plan for everybody underneath them, whether it's the government or employers or whatnot, that are making those choices for people. And it's really unfair. It is not what this country stands for, which is freedom. At least it did when I was born. It was all about freedom, and I want to keep it that way. I know that I love the US, and I want it to stay free, and that we are able to make the choices that we want to make for our own lives, and to own our lives so that nobody else will do so, especially in the near future. So with that, please share this message. Please rate and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.